Hello everyone, I'm Swathi. So this is my day 9 training. So let's quickly move on to the question. The first question is explain testing pyramid in your own words with example. So first let us learn what is testing pyramid. Testing pyramid is nothing but a plan. So it can be help it can help both developers and automation teams to create high quality and a good test software. So it reduces the time required for the team to identify if there is any change uh, they introduced that breaks the system by getting immediate feedback. So in this there are three categories. One is unit test and integration test, and next is end-to-end test. In this end-to-end test, there are three tests included. One is automation test and manual test and GUI test. In this unit test, it is usually done by the developers. So that directly interact with the product code. So the exercises, the functions, methods, and classes, which we discover in the code. It is a type of white box testing. So here, test driven development approach is recommended for simple and bug free. So, for example, like if a developer creates any website login page, and a developer will log in with the correct username and password, and to a user, it should be accessible. Then it is called a successful unit testing. And next is integration test. Here, testing one or more module of a software or application as a group is known as integration testing. So most of the bugs are available mm, in this test. So it is a type of black box testing. For example, let us consider when we check login and sign up features in an e-commerce app. We view them as a separate sign up after after a user adds a item to their basket and wants to proceed to the checkout. So we check the integration between these two functionality, so it is nothing but testing multiple features at the same time. This is what integration test. And next is end-to-end test. It is also a type of black box testing, and these makes sure that the entire application is functioning as required. So in this there are multiple step integration test. For example, consider a Gmail account. Here we type URL into the address bar to get the Gmail login page, and then we log in into account with the valid credentials and access inbox, open, read, and unread emails, compose a new email, and reply to and forward an existing email, then open sent items folder, then check emails there. So open spam folder and then check emails there, and finally log out of Gmail by clicking logout. So this is all the functionalities of Gmail account. This is what happens in the end-to-end test. So let's move to the next question. Explain the difference between white box and black box testing with example. In the white box testing, it is mainly performed by the developers, and in the black box testing, it is mainly performed by the software tester. So, in the white box testing, there is a requirement of programming knowledge. In the black box testing, there is less programming knowledge is required. So, white box testing is also known as a structure or clear box, and in the black box testing, it is also known as closed box testing. And Whitebox testing, the internal structure of the software is known as the tester. And in the black box testing, it is software testing techniques that test the functionality of software without knowing its internal structure or coding part. So, for example of white box testing, by input to check and verifying loops is the example for white box testing. And in the black box testing is nothing but searching something on Google by using by using some keywords. So this is what about white box and black box testing. So let's move on to the next question. Third is what are non-functional testing? Explain with example why a particular testing is non-functional. So non-functional, it is a type of software testing to test non-functional parameters such as performance test and load test and security test, etc. So it is a type of black box testing. And for example, let us consider an application is developed and is completely tested for functionality. So but in the non-functional testing it is not performed on the same. So meanwhile, when the application goes live, it might result in critical or some major issues happens, right? Like when the load is increased on the application, it becomes too slow and takes lot of time to open. It response time might increase, and when the load is increased to an extent, the application might crash. This shows how important it is to test an application on non-functional aspects. So let's move on to the final question. What is a stub and driver in unit testing? Explain with example. So a stub in unit testing is nothing but an object. So that holds predefined or pre-planned data and uses it to answer calls during tests. So it is used when you can't or don't want to involve objects that would answer with real data or have undesirable side effects. So, for example, let us consider. Um, so before that, driver serves the same purpose as stubs. So, but drivers are used in bottom-up integration testing and are also more complex than stubs. So, for example, let us consider there are four modules. In the module A, let us consider login page website, and module B, home page of the website, and module C, profile setting, and module D, sign out page. So assume module A is developed. As soon as it's developed, it undergoes testing, but it requires module B, and which isn't developed yet. So in this case, what happens? We can use the steps or drivers that simulate all features and functionality that might be shown by actual module B. So we can conclude that steps and drivers are used to fulfill the necessity of unavailable modules and similarly, we may also use the stubs and drivers in place of module C and uh, and module D if they are two not available. So that's all for today. Thank you so much.